Welcome to Priestess Swag. I'm your host, Karma. This is a course designed to help you make sense of all of the terminology that you hear in the spiritual community. It's pretty popular to be like, I'm going to sage, but I do have a lot of people who ask me, how do I sage? What is it used for? How do I do it? They're not sure. So I've created some content for you to sit with and maybe have some new ideas on how to do some of these things. Talk about salt and salt lines, sage, Palo Santo, talk a little bit about Florida water and the phases of the moon, the wheel of the year, a bunch of different things that I think will inspire you. So let's get into it. I think you're gonna like it. Let's get this slide presentation for you so I can keep on track. As you know, your girl likes to talk. All right, so one of the very first and most important things that we can learn is how to cleanse, purge, purify, and recalibrate. We're going to be talking about the ritual of purification and process, how to get these things done, and how you can do some of these things yourself. Let's talk about this session's content. The burnt offerings and creating a container. The most pivotal thing you can do is create a container for spiritual working. We will discuss sage, Palo Santo, and sweetgrass, among other things like incense. We'll discuss the purification properties of salt, salt lines and protection. We'll go over black salt and salt lamps a little bit, halotherapy. We'll talk about the spirit or aura bath, which is super popular. You'll see little posts on TikTok or on any of the social media platforms of people filling the bathtub with milk and flowers and honey and crystals and what that's all about. We'll talk about scent imprinting, the magic of ritual. Ritual is just simply discipline. Utilizing crystals, how to make a grid, how to clear energy, spaces, objects, or people. What is an altar and why you want one. The Besom, just for fun. And the wheel of the year. That is also just for fun. I kind of threw that one in. So let's begin. So I want to talk about what I call the burnt offering and creating the container. In any spiritual practice, preparation and intent are pivotal. If you are, there's a sense of care that is taken. It is the container within which working gets done. Preparation and clearing energy is as important as the work that you do. Regularly clearing the home, most especially the aura, the body and sacred space, is an important way to stay calibrated. Reframing is a portion of this. So one of the ways we do this is with a burnt offering. This clears and purifies the space, removing negativity and heightening the vibration for more light to come through. I find it helpful to sage regularly at a minimum bi-weekly with the full and the new moon. With each ceremony, with each meditation, before an aura bath, and at any other time I am overthinking or energy feels heavy. So it's become a routine practice and second nature now that I've gotten into the rhythm of it, but where do we begin? It just takes reframing and altering your thinking. You make the mundane sacred through these practices. This is a conscious intent. So I use the term burnt offering versus smudging, as smudging is a specific Native American spiritual practice that's indigenous to their culture. I honor and respect that by suggesting using the term burnt offering, as this can be anything from sage, Palo Santo, sweetgrass, tobacco, bay leaves, cedar, incense, etc., candles. Knowing the energetic and spiritual properties helps you in choosing which smoke is best for you. Use your intuition and the availability. Don't choose something you can't get. It helps to approach all of these practices in a sacred manner. And the more intent you put into the use of these sacred plants, the more you will receive. So treat all of these things in a spiritual way, in a holy way, in a sacred way. All right, let's talk about the burnt offering. Smoke plays a very important role in the world of shamanism, and it's considered a medicine in and of itself. Smoke as prayer, supplication, blessing, clearing. Catholic churches have a censer and a man in robes walking down the aisle with the incense, right, as we're clearing. Smudging is a term used by the indigenous Native Americans. You will find they object to the word being misused outside of ceremony. I find it useful to refer to this simply to burnt offering, as it is prayer nonetheless. Smoke connects people to the creator and provides communities with a way to gain spiritual protection and blessings, as well as to improve spiritual health. The smoke created by burning sacred herbs is thought to purify the body, the soul, and to bring clarity and focus. If you just think of that, let's go back. Let's go back. To purify the body and soul, and to bring clarity and focus, and to make sacred that what we're doing. That is the purpose, pure and simple, of the smoke in general. So even if you don't utilize sage, Palo Santo, if you have inspiration to use something else, the purpose is to bring that clarity and that focus. Every time you do meditation and you bring that scent in, we're doing an imprinting with our soul, and we're aligning and calibrating. And that scent reminds us. Let's talk about sage for energy clearing. Sage is typically used for purification and energetic disinfection and to ward off evil spirits. It can be used to cleanse people, animals, spaces, objects, tools, utensils, and at the beginning of every ceremony. It is an essential tool. It lightens the energy, right? It is an essential tool in many spiritual practices, including Wicca, neo-pagans, New Age practitioners, healers. Sage is primarily a Native American plant medicine, both North America and South America, and rainforest cultures. That's where it comes from. So I have some in my garden, which makes it easy for me to be able to not have that feeling of not utilizing something or keeping it sacred. When you do use it, it's as important to remember where it comes from, as well as the handling of it. You know, instead of buying it at a smoke shop, you know, where can you get these things that are handled in a more sacred manner? The handling of the medicine is as important as the medicine. So I want to talk about Palo Santo, which is a translation to the sacred tree. Palo Santo has a slightly woody cedar smell with a hint of citrus, which is a little bit different than sage, which has a heavy, well, it's light in some ways, but some people say it smells like THC or marijuana, or it has that funky smell. Palo Santo is light and woody. It means the sacred tree, and it comes from the south of the equator. I want you to consider this, that it is an item that is imported when you're buying it. It doesn't happen in the Americas. It's considered the refinement of the three, wherein it elevates the state of the ritual and ceremony even further. We discussed the use and application of tobacco. Now apply these same principles to sage, sweetgrass, or Palo Santo, among many others. The quality and handling of the herb is essential as itself. Approach these sacred medicines with respect, and they will teach you many, many things. What is true is, regardless of the cultural background, these plants are calling for us to use them in a more sacred manner. The earth is wanting us to participate. Tobacco, I'm not sure, I think I put tobacco in here too, but tobacco is considered a gift. Let's talk about sweetgrass. I can add it in later. Now, sweetgrass is typically used as an ancestral connection. It represents the connection of the people to both earth and sky, and it's used for attracting positive light energy and for connection. It's said that it's made with 21 strands used to make a braid. The first 7 strands represent those 7 generations behind us, including our parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, and so on. Who we are and what we are is because of them. So sweetgrass help us remember to heal and connect with our ancestors. I want to talk about salt. If any of you have had any session with me, I'm always talking about salt. It's an energetic purgative, protection, and purifier. It's a simple and effective solution. It's also inexpensive. We don't have to go crazy. Our grandmothers didn't go to the Dead Sea or the Himalayas to get their salt. Salt is powerful, pure and simple. I think it's one of the most powerful items, and it's underutilized. It's believed to have purification and protective qualities that can help the body and spirit to heal. It can cleanse us physically and energetically, and is believed to extract or release what no longer serves us in our energetic field, which has a positive impact on our physical form. Negative attachments, air quotes, negative entities, etc. from the body, it's used for the body. In many religious practices and cultures, salt signifies preservation and the binding of a spiritual covenant. The use of salt in rituals like sprinkling during ceremonies or forming protective barriers showcases its significance in warding off negative energies and evil spirits. Salt is a valuable item, not just in the home for food and other domestic purposes, but unbelievably valuable in spiritual matters, particularly in prayer. Many individuals and spiritual leaders recognize its potency in prayer. Salt was mentioned in various scriptures, both the Old and New Testaments, The Bible contains numerous references to salt. In various contexts, it's used metaphorically to signify permanence. For much of human history, salt was a relatively scarce mineral. It was worth its weight in gold. That's why I say salt is money. This factor, being so scarce, combined with its uses in medicine, food seasoning, and preservation, caused salt to become a high-value commodity. Entire cities grew up around the salt trade, and wars were fought over salt. As early as the 6th century in the sub-Sahara, Moorish merchants routinely traded salt ounce for gold. In Abyssinia, slabs of rock salt called amoles became coin of the realm. Each one was about 10 inches long and 2 inches thick. And cakes of salt were also used as money in other areas of Central Africa. Prior to industrialization, it was extremely expensive and labor-intensive to harvest the mass quantities of salt necessary for food preservation and seasoning. This made it an extremely valuable commodity. It also has anti-inflammatory and antibacterial properties to reduce inflammation. It was used in health. Let's talk about salt lines and protection, more than just energy. Purifying your space with salt is a powerful way to restore energetic alignment and remove energy that does not resonate, feels stagnant, or falls into the category of bad vibes. Himalayan crystal mineral salt has gentle but strong grounding and centering energies and is said to bring abundance and prosperity into a home. Consuming Himalayan salt boasts all 84 essential trace elements, which your body needs to function properly. Not only this, but it's known to promote stable blood sugar levels, reduce muscle cramping, and facilitate an optimal pH in your cells. Now, this is important. We talk about that in a minute. The Dead Sea is considered the world's most ancient spa, and modern science proves why. It's one of the saltiest bodies of water in the world, with 34% salinity, making it nearly 9 times saltier than regular ocean water. These are some of the reasons this salt is used in energy work and why it is so pivotal an item in the purification and protection of a home. And this is why we also use it in an aura bath for purification. Hawaiian black salt, Hawaiian black flake salt, is a combination of sea salt harvested from the Pacific Ocean surrounding the remote Hawaiian Islands and activated charcoal derived from coconut shells. This gives it its distinct black color. It's also known to be a practitioner salt mixed with crushed charcoal or ash from incense, sage, or Palo Santo. Some practitioners use crushed egg cells in their salt line. Eggshells are to enhance protection, adding additional layers of intent and purification. So black salt or adding in eggshells to your salt enhances its qualities. Personally, I use eggshells. I save every one, most especially when they come from something I've made with joy. Salt also represents bone, protection, a barrier, etc. Since we're talking about salt, I did want to talk a little bit about halotherapy and salt lamps. There is a science to this. The human body contains many salts, of which sodium chloride, aka table salt, is the major one, making up around 0.4% of the body's weight at a concentration equivalent to that of seawater. So we are essentially an ocean. We are the sea. Salt therapy helps increase oxygenation to the cell membrane and promotes alkaline environment within the body. We love to be alkaline. Halotherapy loosens the synovial fluids in the soft tissues of the body. What are synovial fluids? Your joints, your brain, your eyes, your lungs, inside of your smooth tissue, your stomach. That's all the soft, juicy stuff inside our body. Halotherapy loosens these synovial fluids and it improves our brain function, loosens mucus in the throat, upper and lower airway, the nose, eyes, ears, as well as lubricating the joints and tissues. Helps with that brain function too. So salt helps improve the tensility of cells. Have you ever had a balloon that you rub on your hair and then it'll stick to the wall? We have that static electricity. Cells communicate through these ionic changes. And sodium is a critical electrolyte that, along with potassium and chloride, helps deliver water to your body's cells, opens and closes these channels within the cells. This improves communication between the cells, and information is passed more easily through the cell membrane. It is salt, it is water, it is electricity. The physiological as well as spiritual properties of halotherapy make for a healing environment overall. This is also the benefit and purpose of salt lamps. Although you can hear the online WebMD type style descriptions of halotherapy. My office is at a salt room at Breathe, and we can feel it within a few minutes of being even in the room without the halotherapy being on, because the salt is covering the floor and the walls. It's known to assist in respiratory ailments, joint pain, brain function. And so salt is known to be pivotal. I just wish that we played with this a little bit more. So in saying how important the salt is, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the aura bath. An aura bath is just that, spirit bath or aura bath. In some cultures, it's called the spirit bath. It's bathing with the intent of clearing energy. Number one, water has healing properties. Number two, the water enables us to loosen these vibrations and come back to ourselves. And salt is used as the energetic purifier with additional additives that allow for you to cultivate the new energy that you're bringing in. So it isn't strictly the cleansing that's going on. The salt is that purifier. It's like our energetic bleach to cleanse the spirit before or after ritual, to set intention or prepare the body to release past energy and draw in new, or for simple aesthetics. The salt is the purgative and active ingredient. The remaining additives that you put into the bath, if you see here on this video, there's candles, there's flowers, there's oils, etc. These remaining additives are the energy you wish to embody when the energy is clear. So it is as important to clear the space for that which you want to cultivate. Begin with hot water and pure salt, not magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salt, although I highly recommend you put it in there because it has soft water softening properties. So begin with hot water and pure salt. Light a candle to bring in the light and divinity, also to create sacred space and put your brain in an intention. I light a candle every time I begin something because it reminds me to stay focused and that I'm dealing with spirit and that it is sacred. So make your burnt offering of sage, Palo Santo, incense, candle, etc. And add essential oils, coconut oil, almond oil, or botanicals. These are your flowers, your herbs, rosemary for communication, essential oils, eucalyptus for healing. In choosing your botanicals, think of the healing or energetic quality you're calling in. I want you to think of roses for softening. If you want to spice up your sex life, you're going to go ahead and throw in honey and cinnamon and pepper. If you want to soften yourself, or purity, you want white roses or milk and honey. So in choosing them, think of the healing energetic quality that you're calling in, that you're replacing this negativity with, or once you're releasing what you're calibrating to. Now, remember, the botanicals are potent because they are raw ingredients. I want you to think of fresh zest, which can be astringent. If you put too much lemon in there, you will pay for it. One of my girlfriends did that recently. She said it's stinging, but I'm sticking with it. So use sparingly with orange, lemon, lime. They can be much more astringent. That's why we have our dish soap made in like lemon, because it's very astringent. Avoid overuse of the floral ingredients. Don't use too much. Rose, for example, there are live flora, as with raw botanical enzymes. Pollen and bacteria are present, especially if fresh from your garden. So it's important to remember to wash first and then after certain areas so that we can have good health and cleanliness there. You know what I'm talking about, Yoni. But just use them sparingly. But I noticed that when I use too much, it's sticky to the skin. But use them sparingly and just, use your intuition as well. I remember I did a lot of milk. You don't need a lot of milk. Highly recommended that you use milk, heavy cream. Try a quarter cup, maybe a half a cup of cream in your bath. And I will teach you this because you will learn there's a reason why body washes are called milk and honey. Milk and honey in your bath, and you will not need lotion. I'm just going to tell you that. And some of these are just for aesthetics or a reminder or for calming or mental state. Or a bath is like that baptism of energy where you get a restart and regeneration. So during your aura bath, the washing and anointing, intention is everything. So set the stage and make it sexy. Don't just throw stuff in a bath like a washing machine. The hotter the water, the better. It's recommended that you fill the tub with hot water and let it seep. This gives you ample time to set the stage, put your mind right. It's nice and easy. It gives an opportunity for the botanicals to break apart from the petal and release into the water. And when you're doing this, ask yourself, what am I releasing? What am I creating? What am I bringing in? Ooh. Suggested additions: milk, honey, fruit, oils, essential oils, botanicals, herbs, extra salt, coconut oil, herbs, rosemary, flowers, jasmine, roses. I keep saying roses. Trying to think of some other ones. Rosemary is definitely one that keeps popping up for me lately for communication. Aloe, aloe vera, but also bring in extra salt so you can do a scrub if you need to. I make a salt scrub 2-to-1, coconut oil and salt, scrub your body. This is for exfoliation and rinsing. Afterward, you will find that you are feeling like butter. Set yourself up completely for some time. Tea lights, journal, water to drink, sage, Palo Santo crystals. Set the stage with music, candles, something freshly washed and comfortable to dress in afterward. Comfortable to wear, fresh towels, bring your crystals in there and get yourself focused. Let me think if there's anything else. I do want to talk a little bit about sense, ritual mastery and discipline, how to invoke presence. Sense, select scents that you can easily acquire that are rare enough or new to your system so you can begin to program your response. I want to talk about hacking the body in meditation and in ritual, because a scent can bring back memories. A scent can invoke memories or a state of mind. So if you choose or select a scent of your own, select one that is easy to acquire and rare enough and new to your system so you can begin to program your response. If you're already using sage, continue to layer those intentions. An olfactory experience can embed a permanent memory the very first time it's experienced, like music. Fragrance transports us. To have this imprinting effect take place, the smell in this case must be rare enough. Legend has it that the sails of Cleopatra's boat were coated with fragrance before she set off to sea. The fragrance was diffused through the air, reaching the shores before Cleopatra would. This is a way for her to set the stage for her arriving from sea. You can use incense, resins, candles, essential oils, botanicals, sage, Palo Santo, diffusers, air freshener, etc. Our bodies respond to scent and we literally imprint emotionally. Use this system to your advantage and hack the process intentionally. Be creative, invoke that which you desire to experience. Certain botanicals, essential oils like orange and lemon heighten a mood. What mood is it you want to embody? And this is one of the ways in which we do this, is scents. Ritual, mastery, and discipline. In modern times, the word ritual has an esoteric meaning, typically referring to magical practices or religious context. However, we can create this for ourselves in day-to-day life. An action performed by our bodies in connection with our spirit. We can use spiritual rituals to connect the heart with the outside world, or as a way of connecting our physical actions with our heart via spiritual healing. We tend to think of ritual as something formal, established, and religious. It's a set of actions or words performed in a regular way, often as a part of religious ceremony. Create your own. A ritual is also any act or done regularly, disciplined, usually without thinking about it. My morning ritual is a tea ceremony, yoga, and meditation, for example. Unlike routine tasks that might be done automatically, rituals are carried out with intention, mindfulness, and meaning. There are four kinds of ritual. I looked this up. There's a dictionary. Magic action, religious action, substantive or constitutive ritual, and factative ritual. Clearly point out that the rite of passage is a typical or constitutive ritual. Remember, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Take your time creating your process until it becomes natural and second nature to elevate the mundane to the divine. Burning sage isn't all that big of a deal, but burning sage every day, burning sage on the new moon for your aura bath, it starts to become sacred. This is how we create it, through the ritual and discipline and how we are handling. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about water Masaru Emoto's Hidden Messages in Water, and this will make sense to you because giving you a reason why. When you're getting into your bath and you're cultivating this space, you're programming the water. A Japanese doctor of alternative medicine, Masaru Emoto, did a study of water. Over a period of years, he documented the structure of water. He realized, I'm sure some of you have seen some things like this where we do experiments where we talk positively or negatively to an object and watch it change. He realized that the crystalline structure of water changes with each emotion projected at it. The crystals of frozen water displayed varying changes when concentrated thoughts are directed at them. He showed the water from clear springs and water exposed to loving thoughts displayed brilliant, complex, colorful snowflake patterns. So when he was loving, kind, like if you see here where these beautiful crystalline fragments are showing us what it looks like in the beauty. In contrast, polluted water and hate-filled negative emotions directed at water showed discordant, incomplete, asymmetrical patterns with dull color and no shine. This is clear evidence that our emotions emit and have power. Lesson 6 of my meditation class. We talk about this. We're transmitting emotions whether we verbalize them or not. What are you emitting? So when you're getting into the bath water, you're programming it and hence programming it yourself. Because as we talked about, we are what percentage of water? We are the sea. We are the sea. We are programming ourselves here. Look at how beautiful some of these are. It took me quite a while to find this book, and finally a client of mine sent it to me. And just to really go in depth and look at this, you can literally program water with your thoughts. So when you're getting into the aura bath, remember, you are programming yourself. In talking about programming, I want to talk about programming crystals. Crystals are energy amplifiers with unique qualities to each. They not only have their own inherent properties, they also can be programmed for specific use. That is the reason why I brought up Masaru Emoto, because if you can program water, you can program crystals. So crystals are energy amplifiers with unique qualities to each. You can use them to clear energy, calibrate energy, heighten states, purify, purge, enhance, magnify, or correct energy for protection, guidance, illumination, or for chakra energy balancing and to enhance the third eye. You can use these in specific spots in your home, in or around your meditation space, for the spirit bath, on altars, or in crystal grids, used for chakra balancing or to wear for energy enhancement or protection. Certain stones have specific qualities relating to certain chakras and energy. Some stones are for purification and protection. Others open the third eye or break curses, Shivalingam. Cleanse the aura and increase the capacity for life. Do some research. Better yet, intuitively select your crystals. I find that if you go into a rock shop or someplace where you're shopping for crystals, you will naturally pick what's needed and then go look up the meaning. You can absolutely look up the meaning and go, I want purity in my house, and go get them. But do it intuitively. You'll find that you find exactly what you need. Now, they are easily cleansed through running water or salt and charged by simply placing under the full moon. This is their inherent nature. They have sentience and intelligence, and they can be programmed. So you can cleanse a crystal and tell it, I'm using this for my third eye. It will respond and react. Now let's talk about a crystal grid. A crystal grid is a specific arrangement using sacred geometry of gemstones to amplify energy for a set intention. As a result, the intention becomes more powerful, which allows for easier manifestation to happen. So crystal grids are thematic. There is symmetry and balance as well as color and qualities. You begin with a center stone or your focus stone. The correlating stones and crystals are selected to specifically support or amplify this center energy. For example, I bit my tongue. A chakra balancing grid, for example, would have a selenite in the center or a clear quartz tower surrounded by chakra stones in a order of the chakras. Other grids are made solely of one stone or a simple combination of two. Most common grids are organized of selenite, clear quartz, or amethyst. Crystal grids are entirely intuitive and as unique as snowflakes. This is where you bring in your sense of creativity and play and focus. They're deeply satisfying to make. I love making them. They're beautiful to look at. Keeps our focus sharp and redirecting the monkey brain, and bring a sense of ritual to our meditation or spirit bath. I do mine every new moon and full moon. Body loves rhythm and the mind loves a place to go and direct it. This is how you invoke spirit. Now, I want to talk about how to clear auras, spaces, and objects. To clear a space. So when you're burning your sage, we're going all the way back to the beginning here, begin by washing your hands with salt or soap and water, the step to prepare you for sacred space. I always wash my hands before I do a reading. Before I do anything, I wash with salt. Clearing your hands of the mundane and preparing for spiritual work. Open a window, like this breeze right here coming in, blowing me with this curtain. Open a window or door for a cross breeze. I would suggest you sweep. This is optional. Salt the entrances with a salt line, those you step over most often or where high traffic is. On the initial purge, it's helpful to salt windows also. It is said, I've heard an urban legend or an old wives' tale that an entity or a spirit has to go through every grain of salt to get to you, so the more salt, the better. Remember when we're done, though, to be careful with the environment because we don't want to spoil our soil. So salt the entrances with a salt line, those you step over most often. Prepare your smoky burnt offering and walk room to room, allowing the smoke to permeate to the corners. Walk corner to corner, room to room until you've completed a circuit. It's simple as that. Extinguish the burnt item in a bowl or salt or sand, or allow it to naturally go out. However, watch these things carefully. I had one combust in a room when I'd gone out, and it was actually at a certain point when someone was attacking me energetically. She was making phone calls and trying to ruin my reputation, but my sage said, pop, and then Holly called me. What's going on? So watch carefully and use with caution with open flame, okay? You want to light it and blow it out. Only thing we're here to do is smoke something out. So when all done, close all back windows and doors. And during this process, this is where we pray. I know some of you pray different, and it's okay. But we call in any light beings, Godhead, or angelic support. If you're Christian, call it in. One of the things that we neglect to remember is we always believe in negative entities, but we always fail to call in the light. Well, oh, I have a negative entity, but why not call in the corresponding angel or Godhead? So cast out all negativity and ward against return. You are not welcome here. You may only be in this space and then calibrate to whether it's healing or love energy or Christ consciousness. So cast it out, speak it out loud. No longer welcome only anything that has this calibration of energy is allowed, because you want messages to be able to come through of the light. So for cleansing objects or an aura or person, wash the person or item with the smoke, beginning with their hands. Wave the smoke over mouth, ears, eyes, nose, as well as over your head, front and back of the body, and the feet. You can literally feel this energy clearing along your body if you're focusing on it. This gives purpose to the burning. Let's talk about an altar, because I've mentioned it, right? An altar is a table or platform for the presentation of religious offerings, gifts, or sacrifices, or for other ritualistic purposes. We're not going to purchase or sacrifice, though. Altars are found at shrines, temples, churches, and other places of worship. They are used particularly in paganism, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, and modern paganism, and in certain Islamic communities around Caucasia and Asia Minor. I didn't know Caucasia was a place. The Caucasus Mountains. Many historical medieval faiths also have use of them, including the Roman, Greek, and Norse religions. So altar is nothing new. If you go into even any, modern day church, they'll have an altar. Let's talk about an ancestor altar. It is a way to honor and give reverence to your ancestors and loved ones, to honor their lives and the paths they paved. Ancestor altars honor the deceased and commemorate their achievements. They're also important tools for maintaining communication between the living and the dead. In some cultures, it's common to see plates of food, candy, lit tobacco, photos, and other memorabilia like timepieces or jewelry displayed to honor their known ancestors to keep the spirit of their memory alive. In neo-paganism, you may see statuary for channeling specific deities or gods. There's crystals, flowers, fruits, herbs, as well as physical representations of the elements, earth, air, fire, water, ether. Now, Altars change with the seasons or change with the intent. I wanted to get into a little bit of it with you. Now, creating an altar can be something very, very simple. A friend of mine, he had an altar with 5 little clear cups that held votive candles. And he would put a little tiny piece of something in each one of them. It was very clean and sterile looking, but it was a mental representation of the 5 elements. So make it deeply personal and specific. This is a place of focus and realignment. Every time you see it, what is it evoking for you? So it should be in a place where you can see it. So select a space. This can be a table of its own, a shelf, or countertop. Behind me, one of my altars is my singing bowls. It reminds me these things are sacred. They don't get put away. They just stay right there. I have another altar with a crystal grid that allows me to move and focus energy and create a portal. I have another altar over there, which is for my hape and meditation, tools that I use when I meditate. There's singing bowls there. There's incense. There's a candle. There's a bowl of salt. There's honey. So I can align my energy as needed. So it can be a shelf, a countertop, etc. I have little altars all over the place, like in front of my, on my kitchen table, you'll see my feng shui for abundance there with all my plants and the motives of the month. You can build an arch or use boxes and a linen covering to create tiers for depth. Decorate it, make it beautiful, balanced, symmetrical. Most nature altars include the 4 elements of nature. Adorn with any combination of the following, and don't be afraid to mix archetypes. We're in New Earth now. We have 16 different genetic archetypes affecting our DNA, and it's no wonder we're pulled to more than one. We have it available, use them. So a mirtis is a devotional image such as a statue, an icon, an idol of a deity or a saint. These are for focus. Here we have Gaia, the mother. Sometimes there's candles, crystals, photos, flowers, herbs, mala, or prayer beads. Get creative. An altar is a space of worship that we go to get centered and invoke a particular emotional or spiritual quality. And they're fluid and change often, as with solstices or Sabbats, the wheel of the year. And that's what I'm going to get into next, the wheel of the year. But I want to talk about the broom first. I wasn't sure where this was going to fit, but it went in with clearing, energy clearing, the besom. I wanted to get into the mythology of the witch. If you ever see a broom in somebody's house, in many cultures, besoms were believed to have magical properties and were used as a tool for divination and communication with spirits. I just thought this was really fun to throw in there, the witch and the broom, right? They were also often used in wedding ceremonies where the bride and groom would jump over the besom as a symbol of their commitment to each other and their new home. Brooms will keep the bad things out and the good things in. Always stand a broom on end with a brush facing up. They were made out of bristles of birch and a handle of hazel. A witch's broom was never meant for riding. A witch believes her home is a reflection of the body and one's emotional state, and therefore cleanliness a virtue. A sweep was something done for deep energy clearing where salt and herbs were strewn, like herbs and sawdust, were strewn on the floor and left overnight and swept in the morning, removing all negative energy. So a besom by the door brought good luck and were often gifted to newlyweds and in new homeowners for prosperity. Simply put, brooms assist in energy clearing in the absence of sage. Sweep. Open a window and sweep. You're welcome. All right, I want to talk about the Sabbats and Estbats just because nobody talks about them. And I wanted to play with this a couple years ago, and I wanted to remove myself from anything that was commercial and to do something which had meaning. You do not have to be pagan, Wiccan, or any other thing to celebrate, to worship, or prepare, or enjoy these things. It is simply a turning of the season. So these are called Sabbats and Estbats. The Wheel of the Year is an ancient concept that has been used by many cultures throughout history to mark the changing of the seasons and cycles of nature. I find it interesting that there are 8 cycles, just like there are 8 phases of the moon, just saying. Its origins can be traced back to prehistoric times when people relied on the cycles of the sun, moon, and stars to measure the passing of time. The narrative of the Wheel of the Year traditionally centers on the sacred marriage of the god and the goddess and the god-goddess duality. What was I going to say? And the different seasons, just a celebration of the seasons. The Wheel of the Year is a symbol of the 8 Sabbats or religious festivals, includes the 4 solar festivals, winter solstice, spring equinox, summer solstice, and fall equinox. All and 4 seasonal festivals celebrating or marking a significant seasonal change. There are 4 more than that, which are the Estbats. So the middle of the month when the solstices and equinoxes fall, and then the first of the month right after that, 6 weeks later. So every 6 weeks is a Sabbat or an Estbat. In modern times, we've lost the deep connection with the flow of time with the seasons. We exist in a canned environment. Even our car is canned. We don't roll the windows down. Devoid of the richness that comes with living close to the land. We can synchronize energetically by following closely the Sabbats and Estbats. The Sabbats are essentially the solstices and equinoxes in rhythm with the turning of the seasons. And each one has its own significance. It's unique of celebration and worship. So there's 8 of them: Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, and Lugnasada. The cross-quarter days, the minor Sabbats are Yule, Ostara. Hold on. The minor Sabbats are Yule, Ostara, Litha, and Mabon. So Yule is winter solstice, Ostara is the spring equinox, Litha the summer solstice, and Mabon autumn equinox. Let's get into this. I know you're going to be confused, but let's just talk about it really quick. In ancient times, the 12 days of Yule, December 19th through the 21st. Now, these are variable because the solstice doesn't always fall on the same day, although the Estbats do. These are the solstice dates based on timing. So winter solstice is Yule. On the 12 days of Yuletide began on the winter solstice and ended on January 1st in ancient times. Christianity revised this pagan celebration to the 12 days of Christmas, also known as Twelvetide, beginning Christmas Day and ending on the 5th of January. I would just like to say that I would much rather have the Viking representation of the 12 days of feasting, partying, drinking, gift-giving, traveling. The 5th of January was the last day, being the 12th night, called Epiphany Eve. Can you imagine 12 days of partying? Yule is sometimes referred to as the wild hunt, celebrated by burning a Yule log on the solstice, which is said to bring luck and prosperity. Yule celebrations include bonfires. I just want to say that there's bonfires in a lot of these, though, which is really fun, so it's kind of inspiring. You decorate with holly, mistletoe, and the boughs of evergreen trees. There's sacrifices, feasts, and gift-giving. Now, the ritual sacrifices were beasts of burden that they sacrifice is a graceful way to bring gratitude in for the beast, giving its nourishment for the long winters. The Scandinavian celebration included drinking, feasting, songs, games, gift-giving, banquets, gifts for the gods and the ancestor spirits for 12 days straight. I'm here for it. The darkest night of the year for this holiday celebrates the coming of the light. It's the darkest it will be, and from here on out, we get to celebrate. This turning point makes it correlate beautifully with Christmas, as the Romans declared. February 1st, which is Imbolc, celebrates the midpoint between the winter solstice and the vernal equinox, embodying the increasing daylight and the gradual return of warmth. It beckons us to witness the tender shoots pushing through the soil, mirroring the inner awakening that unfolds within ourselves. As the first of the 4 Celtic fire festivals, Imbolc symbolizes the rekindling of earth and the promise of warmer days ahead. The customs and rituals associated with Imbolc are diverse and may vary across Celtic traditions, but Brigid remains a central and revered figure in these celebrations. Consuming a fresh, cultured into buttermilk cream, curds, cheeses, and butter, root vegetables, and cured meats. Imbolc plays homage to the returning light and is a quintessential, well, I'm not even going to, never mind. Traditional involves lighting candles and symbolizing the growing sun. Quintessential. Easter, Ostara. Now this is March 19th through 21st. Ostara is a pagan solar holiday honoring the spring's warmth, light from the sun, and awakening of the earth. Pagan celebrations during this holiday have themes of balance, renewal, and rebirth. The symbols of Ostara are spring flowers, fairies, butterflies, rabbits, and eggs. Now, I am not going to go way far into the Ishtar, Ostara. You can do that back and forth, but like many other spring celebration in other cultures, Ostara symbolizes fertility, rebirth, and renewal. There's a lot here for this one. This time of year marked the beginning of the agricultural cycle, and farmers would start planting seeds then. Easter is associated with Christianity and to a pagan spring festival that dates long before Christ. The feast day of Easter was first pagan holiday of renewal and rebirth. Honored in the early spring, praised the goddesses of fertility and spring known as Stara, Easter, O Astera. Coming of the sun. May 1st, Beltane coming up. May 4th, we're going to be doing a fun little celebration down in Vegas. I'm doing a maypole. I'm super excited. This festival is often commemorated with bonfires, maypoles, dancing, performing fertility rituals. Now, Beltane is a Celtic word meaning the fires of Bel. Bel likely referred to the Celtic sun god Belenus. And on the night of Beltane, all fires in the community were put out and big bonfires are lit to honor the returning powers of the sun. And from these sacred ritual fires, the fires of the hearth would be lit. So there was one big fire that was burning and we would take a brand of it and we would take it into our home as a community. So flames, smoke, and ashes of the Beltane fire were believed to have purifying and protective fire powers. Here we go again with that sacred smoke. Observances including wearing brightly colored clothing, dancing and partying, and animals representing fertility being released throughout the towns. Sheep, bunnies, chickens, eggs, go reproduce. And temples were bedecked with blooms and wildflowers and vegetation, and many festival goers would dance naked in the streets. Yes, it was a fertility rite. There's even some stories about the Beltane babies was considered blessed because this was a time of courtship and hand fasting. In the past, tradition said that while couples were waiting on an official to arrive who could bless their wedding, a local dignitary would perform a hand blessing ceremony on the couple. This meant they were legally married for a year and a day, giving them a chance to have their marriage officially blessed. Others say hand fasting was originally more like an engagement period, where two people could declare a binding union between themselves for a year and a day to see if that's what they want to do. So the original hand fasting was a trial marriage to give them a chance to see. There were also in other cultures, Beltane was a time of, how do I say this without getting in trouble online? Fertility rites were performed here where people enjoyed the pleasure and joy of living. So Beltane babies were considered pretty blessed. Let's see, what is that? January babies, Beltane babies. Midsummer, June 19th through the 21st, is Litha. It occurs during the summer solstice between 19th and 22nd, more commonly referred to as Midsummer's Night. It's believed to be a time where fairy folk pass into the human world at twilight and offer blessings. It celebrates the beginning of summer. The traditions appear to be borrowed from many cultures, not as strict as you'd think. And most celebrated the solstice in some way, and the Celts celebrated with hilltop bonfires and dancing. I just want to play. Lighting and jumping over bonfires. This is the jumping over. This dates to pre-Christian pagan customs. It's a time to celebrate the abundance of nature, the power of the sun, and the joy of life. It's a time of peak energy and a time to honor the sun and feasting, as always. Lugnasada. I can pronounce Lugnasada, but not quintessential, whatever. Quintessential. Lammas, August 1st. An Anglo-Saxon tradition celebrating the first grain harvest of the growing season. So this is the harvest festivals. Modern pagan groups observe both of these ancient traditions by welcoming in the first harvest of the fruit and wheat with bread making. So we have milk in the spring and bread in the fall, featuring our energy into it to bring peace and prosperity. We like to make the bread interesting shapes such as plates and cottage loaves or dollies, melding elements from each into a modern day Lusagnara celebrations. At Lammas, fires were lit to honor the corn mother as she gives birth to the harvest child, and Lud, the god of grain. Mabon, autumn equinox. It's seen as the height of the harvest season and a time to celebrate nature's bounty. This is the pagan Thanksgiving. It marks the autumn equinox when day and night are equal, making it a time of balance, equality, and harmony. So Mabon is all about that balance. It was a celebration of the second harvest, Lugnasada Lammas the first, when farmers gathered hearty foods like gourds, pumpkins, grapes, and apples. Mabon typically commemorates the celebration of resting after a long and laborious harvest season. This was the time to do it. I mean, after all of that hard work, it's time to play. It's tradition tradition is seen. Its tradition is seen as a time to finish projects and clear out emotional and physical clutter so that winter can be restful and peaceful. This was also a time of preparedness. It's so much fun. All right, November 1st, not October 31st. All Hallows Eve is October 31st. This is Samhain. This is also considered the Witch's New Year. Samhain is Gaelic word that means summer's end. Now notice some of these are stuff you're already doing. You're already doing Thanksgiving, different story. You're already doing Samhain, Halloween. You're already doing Yule and Easter. So there's 4. You're already doing 4 of them or have a familiarity with them. This is just a way for you to stay in these rhythms a little better. So Samhain is a Gaelic word that means summer's end, pronounced as Samhain, one of the 4 Gaelic harvest festivals marking the end of summer and the start of winter. So Samhain is rich with traditions, some of which we celebrate today, and legend has it this is the day when the veil is said to be the thinnest, where we can commune with those who have passed on. People wore costumes and masks to disguise themselves as harmful spirits to avoid harm. Bonfires and food played a large part in the festivities. The bones of slaughtered livestock were cast into a communal fire, purging the prior year. Household fires were extinguished and started again from the bonfire. Notice we did that in the spring. During this time of year, hearth fires in family homes were left to burn out while the harvest was gathered. And after the harvest work was complete, celebrants joined with Druid priests to light a community fire using a wheel that would cause friction and spark flames. So its origins in folklore, pumpkins were also believed to ward off evil spirits. Carved pumpkins and lit candles inside were placed on doorsteps to protect these homes. So this is one of the many fun things that we get to do. I know that you're familiar with a lot of these, but it's fun to just put them into an organized place for you to just start to explore what to do with some of these. You don't have to do all of them. Sometimes I skip some of the celebrations because I'm not in rhythm, and other times I'm like, oh, it's going to be Maven. Like right now, we have Beltane coming up on this weekend, or I'm sorry, a couple weeks where we get to go down as a group and celebrate. Never got to do a group this big before, so I'm super excited to bring the drums down and celebrate while they're doing the maypole. Teach them about the medicine. I would highly recommend that if you're just beginning, just play with 2, new moon, full moon. New moon, full moon, and heighten your awareness. Do your sage, do your aura bath twice a month, and see how this works for you. Let me know what you think of some of this material, if it was too much, too little, if it was inspiring or new to you, or if you like it. I have so much more for you. The next video will be on the moon phases, our Bella Luna, which is harvesting the moon phases for spiritual enhancement, where you can understand what the moons mean and how to play with that energy to level up your game. I want to thank you for hanging out with me. And welcome to Priestess Swag. I will catch you on the flip side.